You might guess by the name that when you visit Jerusalem Market on Elm Street in downtown Greensboro, you're going to enjoy delicious Middle Eastern food. But you might not know from the name is that you'll be treated like family.
So our father started Jerusalem Market, the grocery store, the deli, in 1989. And frankly, as soon as I could reach the counter, I was helping Dad, just doing what I could, whether it be running the register or just stocking shelves. But we always observed them cooking because my dad loves to cook and my mom loved to cook too. So growing up, we were always around a lot of the food and exposed to the recipes. And we weren't necessarily like right there helping, but you got to watch and see what goes in everything. And you learn by, osmosis. You learn by just picking it up. So that was always, it wasn't really asked of us, but we wanted to help in the store. And it really got us going, and really that's what got us started, with the love of the food and the love of the food, like the culture through the food. Growing up, meals were important. We always ate together as a family. Always made it a point on Sundays because my dad worked nights a lot of times running the original store, working night and day. So a lot of times, during the week, we'd just be eating with Mom and eating with Dad, and always on Sunday. It was like you had to be there for Sunday dinner. But it was, mealtime always meant just basically sharing your day and sharing some food. We made it a point to sit at the table, and when you're younger, you don't always appreciate that, but it's really awesome, and I'm glad that we were kind of forced in a good way to do that. But cooking was always important in our family. A lot of us, a lot of my family likes to cook and would always bring food over. A lot of times we had aunts and uncles that lived close proximity. If they made a dish that they had extra, they'd always bring some to share. And that's always like part of the community too, just sharing the food and sharing, if you got it, you share it, and that's what's cool. So just working with our dad all those years, we always had a limited kind of menu at the deli there. And it was something we wanted to expand on because there's so many recipes like the one I shared with you earlier called mashi, kusa mashi, which means stuffed squash. It's yellow squash, like a spring squash, hollowed out and stuffed with a meat and rice, like ground lamb and beef, mixed with just basically white long grain rice, cooked with spices, and then you stuff the squash in there. And you can cook it in like a light tomato sauce or even a yogurt sauce. And you just eat it like that, get a few squash on your plate with the sauce, and you get that way you get the sauce when you cut it open on the rice. And you can even, if the season is right, have really small grapevine leaves that you blanch really quick and then put that same meat and rice mixture into and roll them. And that was a really special thing because you didn't have those all the time. And that was something like almost never made it to the table because everyone would end up munching them as the other food is being ready. Like the stuffed grape leaves were sitting there and everyone just, kind of squirreling them away. So yeah, that's my personal favorite thing growing up, and still really to this day actually. Another favorite dish growing up, it was something very special called msaken. It's a Palestinian roasted whole chicken, or even use Cornish game hen if you want to be really fancy. But it's served with a highly reduced mixture of sumac. Sumac is a lemony, tangy, purple-colored spice. Sumac and onions sautéed down until the onions are super caramelized and nice and creamy. So you take some fresh pita bread, or my dad's oldest sister would make a very special bread that she cooked on rocks, like stones. So it would have an awesome cratery texture, and she makes a nice big loaf of that fresh bread. And then after you roast the chicken, you put the sumac onions on top of the bread and the chicken on top of that, and then finish in the oven for 5-10 more minutes. And it comes out and it's served family style. So it's intended, everyone just kind of, back home you eat with your hands. And this is definitely one of those dishes. It's best served that way, where everyone just kind of tears into it. You dip you tear the chicken off, you dip the chicken into the onions, and you get the bread and just eat bites of it like that. It's really intensely flavored and just awesome, just clean, crisp flavors. And it's something that always reminds me, because my aunt's bread is super special, and it's good with the pita bread, but that was always taking it to another level, So yeah, when people enjoy the food and really appreciate where it comes from, and if my grandmother's recipes, you're eating the same thing like we used to eat, it really opens, it really touches our heart, because it's really, that's kind of the deepest, especially in our culture, it's the most genuine way to show gratitude, is to feed somebody and to share something that you prepared for yourself with them. And the fact that our guests can appreciate that on the same level is really awesome. It feels like we're almost feeding you in our house, in our home, and that's one thing we really like to focus on here, is keeping that personal touch and being able to interact with our guests and really see how much they appreciate and enjoy it, because it makes it rewarding to bust your butt and work hard here if people appreciate it on that level.